And welcome back to Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win comes to us from, now that I'm done with doing the Halloween themed ones, I'll still occasionally do a horror themed one, but I like to save a lot of the horror themed ones for the month of October and the holiday of Halloween area. But that's not to say I won't do a horror one every, like, maybe once a month or something like that, once or twice, once every month or two. It's just the way it is. Anyway, this one comes to us from Todd Fulford, who asked the question, who would win in a fight, Daredevil or Afro Samurai? Ironically, you were the next person up on the list for suggestions. You had two other ones, but then you suggested this one. I'm like, okay, I'll do this one. It was your most recent one, so why not? Daredevil versus Afro Samurai. Now, it should be noted that both these characters have pretty much fought characters of an equivalent. There's an equivalence. They fought equivalent characters before in their respective series. Daredevil has fought many ninja, samurai, swordsmen before, and I'm almost certain Afro's fought blind swordsmen before as well. So neither of these guys are necessarily new to the other. But what do they bring to the table? Well, let's go with Daredevil first. Matt Murdock is Daredevil. He lost his sight when he was a kid due to a chemical spill. It basically heightened every one of his other senses. He pretty much has a radar sense. He can't see the world per se, but he pretty much gets a mental map of the world, so he more or less can see. He also is apparently constantly emitting like an electromagnetic like pulse that basically just gives him visual representation around his world. All of his senses are enhanced beyond measure. You know, he can smell like a bloodhound. He can hear your heartbeat. He can smell blood. He can taste poisons. He can feel where you're coming from just by feeling the vibrations in the air. He could probably taste you in the air if you really wanted to. But that's also not to say he's not extremely skilled. Was raised by a boxer. He knows boxing. He's physically in his peak condition. He's one of the best athletes in the Marvel universe. He's skilled in, I think it's like 12 different martial arts. Like some of them include eskrima fighting, like staff fighting, ninjutsu, judo, I think taekwondo, Krav Maga. He's got a lot of martial arts skill to it. Absolutely. He's a badass fist fighter. Absolutely. He's also well equipped too. His suit's it's not bulletproof, like high velocity, but it can like ricochet off some small arm fire. It's usually good against knives. Electrical proof to some degree, or electrically insulated. Overall durable, but it is also very flexible, allowing him to move. His helmet also is fairly durable as well. His billy club can do God knows how many things, include turning into nunchucks, a staff for fighting. He has 2 pairs of billy clubs for fighting if he really wants them. A hook for grappling, kind of like swing like Batman. He's widely considered to be also the man without fear, though that's not really true. He just knows how to overcome his fears. And usually he's not afraid, but occasionally he's met an opponent that will scare the shit out of him. For instance, Batman! Batman tried to run him over his car, and Daredevil commented his heartbeat didn't increase ever. Not once did it quicken. So Batman scares the piss out of Daredevil. I love that. Because I love Batman. Who doesn't love Batman? There's people who don't love Batman. There's people who don't like Batman. That's okay. You're wrong, but that's okay. No, it's whatever. So yeah, Daredevil is a very capable individual, very capable fighter. Afro exists in a time well before Daredevil. He exists in, I don't even know what era, what does Afro Samurai take place in? That's a good question. Let's see here. Afro Samurai. What time period does that take place in? It can't be like the 1900s. It can't be like modern era like Daredevil is set up in. Let's see here now. Does it give me a time frame when the then again, hold on. A feudal yet futuristic Japan. I forgot there is firearms, there's robots and shit. So yeah, you can make an argument it is actually in the future beyond Daredevil, to be fair. But Afro is, he was just a kid, really. Then his father got killed by, who was the guy who killed his father? What was the name of the guy? Anyway, his father was the #1 swordsman. that kill the number 1 swordsman, you need the number 2 headband. Anyone can challenge the number 2, but only the number 2 can challenge the number 1. Apparently having the number 1 best swordsman headband in the world shall possess powers like a god. Some believe it grants immortality. Others believe the headband has been sent down by gods. The only way to obtain the number 1 is, basically it. Justice. That was it. Justice killed him. But frankly, there's no evidence to that. Nothing. It's just that, Afro's dad, when he got resurrected and started beating the shit out of his son, was just a beast of an individual. Like, he was godlike, but he was not a god. But Afro himself is extremely impressive. He has no issue fighting dirty. He's more designed like a Ronin than anything else. Like I said, he's got no problems fighting dirty. He will chain, actually melee with physical strikes with his sword strikes. Sword style, he's very aggressive and to the point as well. His sword is a bit longer. It's not an actual katana. What is it? What does he wield? 1 second. I need to find, let me just get his character profile off here. Afro Samurai, Afro. How about the character? Here we go, characters. Yeah. No, you'd think at some point I would eventually have this just on the fly. Okay, categories. There we go, Afro. Because I'm trying to remember, it's not, his sword is longer than your average katana. It's not a true katana. But it's not like a Kadachi. It's not quite that either. And seeing as I've now got his profile up here, I can give actually a pretty comprehensible explanation of Afro now. Let's see. Where is his damn size? Okay. The only weapon is his sword. It's a long blade with a square gray guard and a red color. It has a string. But it's longer than your average katana. It's not quite, I don't think, a Kadachi, though, because it is curved a bit more. Or that just might be to emphasize, like, the lethalness of it. He's strong enough to cleanly slice through thugs and warriors quicker than effortlessly, or pierce a person's throat with his sword sheath. Which takes a very high amount of strength to do so. He's able to jump quite high. His speeds in his speed and agility are the only skills that match his strength. When Death Battle did the Afro versus Samurai Jack fight, they showed that he was able to block a beam that was traveling a certain amount of speed of light. So he's got super high relativistic speeds. Strength-wise also, I believe he cut a missile in half. Yeah, okay. You cut an RPG into, shattered it, and it basically into multiple shards, and it basically destroyed the mountain behind him. He's got a severe high pain tolerance. He can keep fighting on well past the point he's injured, but he's not a berserker, so it's not like he's a Guts or Kenpachi type of character. He's still very much human, can very much die. In fact, he nearly died, like in the resurrection when he nearly got killed by his dad. So it's really going to be coming down to who is going to get the takeout strike on this, I guess to say. Not even takeout strike. Who's going to get the final hit in on this fight? Now, Daredevil, here's the thing. While Afro, I'm certain has fought someone who's blind for it, I'll admit I've never fully watched any of the Afro Samurai. I've watched enough. While Afro probably has fought someone who's blind, Daredevil is a different type of blind because he's not really blind. In fact, all his senses are pretty much heightened beyond his sight, which, because they're all heightened, he pretty much can see. So Daredevil will be able to sense and see Afro coming without qualm because Afro's not trying to be quiet. If Afro were like the hand and trying to mask like sound, heartbeats, all that stuff, then Daredevil might have a harder time. But because Daredevil can hear him, he's going to have an easier time finding the spots of where to dodge and where to get hits in. However, Afro is clearly the faster of the two. Even on just pure reflexes, if he can block a near light speed, if not light speed kind of attack, then yeah, his reaction speed is far higher than Daredevil's is. Strength-wise, he's probably also a bit more just ruthless and stronger than Daredevil as well. So ultimately, yeah, ultimately, yes. So Afro's got the physical advantage in terms of just his sheer physical feats and capabilities between his speed, agility, and his strength, probably. Daredevil, though, I would argue is just the far better trained fighter, though. He's got more training. He does have at least some level of protection on him. He is also armed. And he's fought individuals like Afro, probably more times than Afro's fought individuals like a Daredevil. So, without further ado, how does this scenario break down? How does this fight go down? Well, I mean, let's say that Afro, because it's a futuristic, yet feudal Japan, or feudal yet futuristic Japan, let's assume it takes place in the future, an alternate future. And Daredevil, through Marvel shenanigans, has been sent to an alternate future. So he's just like wondering what's going on. You know, he's maybe helping people where he can. People are talking about the devil. Afro hears about this and at first doesn't care, and then eventually they get caught up in each other's shit, and they're both squaring each other down. And Daredevil's like, look, I don't want to fight you. And it's like, yeah. And it's like, no one ever does. And Thor's like, really? You're the first. Everyone wants to fight me. And then, comes in, just kind of clicks the sword. And because Daredevil can hear that, he hears it and just and reacts. So it's out of sheer instinct he's able to dodge his first strike. He's like, shink. Of course, Afro's not going full out either, or all out right now. So just shink. And Daredevil's like, ugh! He's blocking. He's, gets out of the way. Afro's coming in hard and fast. Just, foo, foo, foo. Daredevil is just blocking with his staff. Billy Club just ching, ching, foo. Daredevil then just kind of angles the sword down, but starts punching. Just bump, box, box, box. Going for the weak spots. Afro's takes some hits now. Afro's feeling these punches. He quickly runs. This is a guy who knows how to hit hard. If I'm not careful, he might put me down. So immediately when Daredevil comes in with the next punch, he quickly grabs that punch and kicks him straight in the gut, sending Daredevil back into the wall. Daredevil then fires off the grappling part of the Billy Club. Afro just kind of grabs his sword, cuts the grappling hook, and then comes in again. Now Daredevil's basically got half a Billy Club. He's got to get the other Billy Club to really fight effectively, but he's kind of blocking the hit as best he can. But it's Afro again kicks him, skids, and then takes a nice clean chunk out of his arms right down the side. But he'd be lucky. His armor, his suit did take at least enough of it that he only kind of nicked the skin. He was able to not get the bone, but Daredevil even knows, like, if that had been 1 centimeter, I'd be missing bone right now. It's like, shit. And so he then again goes in. Basically, his tactic would quickly be to try to keep Afro from really using his sword. So he kind of grabs his arm, starts nailing him again. Afro's starting to cough up a little blood. Afro backhands him, basically, just with his other hand, just boom, backhands him. Comes in again, slices fast, and Daredevil immediately just reacts. Just nearly gets cut in half. Yeah, has the Billy Club basically blocking it. It's digging into his sternum. He's coughing up a lot of blood, but he's not cutting up. He's got this long gash now. Even in his ribs, he's got it, and his sternum's indented. His Billy Club's pretty much toast. In fact, it's now stuck on the blade, to which Afro pretty just quickly and then just flicks it, gets it off. Then Daredevil quickly goes for the other half of the Billy, which was cut off. Afro goes because he sees Daredevil is cut down on the ground there. And in the last turn, Afro comes, gives the killing strikes, and then Daredevil just hits him straight in the head. And not quite killing him. Doesn't want to kill him if he doesn't have to. Daredevil has killed people. Let's not mince words about that. Either hits him either in the head or he goes for the throat. He hits one of those 2 points. Take your pick. If he hits, let's say for sake of sake that he aims straight for the head because that's just an easier target. Just boom, and then Afro's and then just boom on the ground, and then Daredevil just coughing up some blood, holding his arms, his arms kind of like trembling in pain, but he's looking down, he's like, and then just walks off, or slinks into the night to get like some medical treatment or something like that, the best he can. So, yeah, I'm going to go Daredevil in this fight. And again, it goes back to what I said earlier. Despite the fact that relativistically, Afro actually does have the better physical feats. He's faster, he's stronger, he's got actually better probably reflexes than even Daredevil does. Daredevil is better trained, and he's dealt with individuals akin to Afro far more often than Afro has dealt with individuals akin to Daredevil. He's got better experience dealing with someone like Afro than Afro would against Daredevil. And Daredevil's Billy Club is versatile enough to keep him safe throughout part of the fight. And despite the fact he's not as fast as his physical feats aren't as powerful as, or aren't as powerful, aren't as impressive as Afro's, he's got enough reflex capability, because it's the way he works, that he'd at least be able to stay out of a true killing blow for a while in the fight. However, there's a good scenario where Afro takes out Daredevil. Like when in that scenario where I show he throws it, maybe Afro comes down just quick enough to block the Billy Club and just take the lethal strike into Daredevil and kill him. I think, though, it's more likely Daredevil's able to get the knockout blow on him. How likely? I'll go 65. No, I'll go 70-30. I think there's a good solid 30% chance Afro would beat Daredevil, but I think it's more likely that Daredevil is going to take the win. But it'd be a cool fight to see. Like, this is one of those fights I'd love to see Bat and the Sun or Death Battle do. This would be a cool fight to do. And I've had some people in past like, yeah, dude, you're not, you don't have these images. I came here to see a fight or something like that. Dude, not everyone does that. I don't have the capabilities of doing that. I'm just a guy talking. When you watch a What If, like if you watch Masako X, who does great Dragon Ball Z What Ifs. I love his What If series. It's just him talking. He does have some images, but it's just him talking. And no one seems to complain about that. So, I'm not trying to complain about the people who complain. It's just something that I know, and it gets a little kind of tedious after a while. It's like, look, man, I can't do that stuff right now. I just can't. Probably not for the foreseeable future. I would love to be able to have graphic. See, I don't think I'd do animated fights, because how often I do who would win, I just wouldn't be able to do those in time. If I went to animated fights, and it'd be a long time before I decided to do that, I'd probably have to bump down to who would win maybe 2 a week. If I could, maybe 1 a week for like really high quality ones, if I had that capability, which I don't. Maybe one day. And nothing else. Whenever I get the capability of doing it, I will just have graphics. That I would have. But anyway, I digress. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Ideas for who would win, Star Wars, superhero, magic, what if, anything I do on the channel, discussions, Dragon Ball Z videos, you name it, I'll do it. Put those in the comments below. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one, folks.